Good morning, Elaine.
Hello, Ninette.
Bonjour, Elaine.
Bonjour.
Vous allez bien?
Oui, très bien.
Good morning, Elaine.
Ça va, ça va. Super, super. Vous nous parlez aujourd'hui d'un festival panafricain.
Oui,
You are talking about Pan-African Festival.
This week, as you've mentioned, I take you to Ghana for the Pan-African Historical Theatre Festival, known as PANAFEST. This year's PANAFEST was held under the theme, PANAFEST at 25, the power of Pan-African culture. The festival started on July 25th and ended yesterday on August 2nd. This is a cultural vehicle for bringing Africans on the continent and in the diaspora together around the issues raised by slavery, which remain suppressed. Every year since its inception in 1992, PANAFEST's theme reflects the political, social and economic advancement of the African nations and the African diaspora at large. The cultural event is dedicated to the enhancement of the ideals of Pan-Africanism and the development of the African continent. It is organized biennially for Africans and people of African descent, as well as persons committed to the well-being of Africans and the continent in the and also the diaspora. The main goal is to establish the truth about the history of Africa and the experience of the African people, using African arts and culture as highlighted by Rabbi Cohen Halevi, the director of the foundation. Take a listen.
PANAFEST has brought back confidence to the international community that Ghana is truly living up to its reputation as being the Black Star of Africa. PANAFEST has helped to invoke the name of Asajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and the great Pan-Africanists that were along with him of the era of the independent struggle of Africa. PANAFEST has kept that dialogue and that conversation alive.
Rabbi Halevi also briefly explained what draws people to the 10-day event and the benefits of the event.
Every African, I believe, have an obligation. If you're not born in Africa and you're born in the diaspora, especially by virtue of the North Atlantic slave trade, you owe yourself a lifetime pilgrimage to come to Africa at least once in your life. And I guarantee you, anyone who comes to Africa at least once in their life will be inspired to follow up on it again.
PANAFEST was such a spectacle in the 90s, but unfortunately it lost its verve and fever in the latter years. Attempts to revive it have been laudable, but some obvious reasons it has not been able to attain the same level of attention, patronage and critical acclaim as it did in earlier years. As Richard Narko, a journalist who has been on the ground since the beginning of this year's PANAFEST, explains. Take a listen.
It hasn't been that encouraging. I think it needs rebranding. It needs a new bet, because it is unlike before where if it is PANAFEST, the entire country was even involved. But now, at least I see that it is the tourism ministry that is handling it. The residents in Cape Coast, Elmina, they are not really deeply involved as it used to, because it was like a festival. A festival that was akin to any of the traditional festivals in our place. So the patronage has gone down, and people are calling for a rebranding of the event and then a rebate of the event to give it that status as it was early on initiated by the organizers of the program or the people that conceptualized it.
However, the success of the festival is dependent on a lot of factors: support, funding, preparation and intensive publicity, the drive. That is what Richard explains.
Sensitization, education, advertisement, and getting the people deeply involved, because, Cape Coast is a historic city. Elmina is also another historic city. And so if there is something like that, hitherto, Accra was involved, but I hardly hear anything even in Accra, because the television screen should be advertising that a month away from PANAFEST, these are the programs that have been outlined. And even the people in Cape Coast. I think it was about a week ago that I started hearing some adverts on the radio. But the people need to be told more. They need to be involved in everything.
Alors, je pense, Elaine, qu'il a souligné là un point très important dans la vulgarisation.
Elaine, it is very important for people to actually realize this.
De communiquer, de sensibiliser, d'informer les populations à travers les médias populaires, évidemment, radio, télévision et puis presse écrite.
And we can use the media, which is very popular.
And it's something we must attain to achieve in Africa.
Absolument. Yeah. On est là pour ça d'ailleurs, c'est notre mission.
Well, that is it from me on this week's travel segment. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.